All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at the Utility Advisory Board. Like Sasha mentioned, my name is Diana Valenzuela. I'm here on behalf of Southern California Edison. I am a California native, so I actually live in the Central Valley of California. I know Sasha mentioned that I started at Edison in 2017 as an intern, but my engagement at Edison actually dates back to 2014 when I was a high school senior. I received a $40,000 scholarship to attend a four-year university. So super thankful to Edison because I was able to go to college, get my degree in industrial and systems engineering from the University of Southern California, and then a couple years ago I went back and I received my master's degree in project management and operations. And now I'm here at UAB at SAS Innovate talking to you guys about how Edison is utilizing SAS to help better our business. One of the things that I'll start off with actually is I do want to emphasize the title once again. So Data Alchemy, turning work order records into gold with SAS. So at SCE, by utilizing SAS, we can help come up with some pretty good, valuable, and informative outputs, and I'll share a couple of examples. All right, is it working out? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so in terms of the agenda, I'll share a little bit about SCE. I'll also talk a little bit about SAS Enterprise Guide. I'll share some current challenges at Southern California Edison. I'll discuss how SCE is utilizing SAS Enterprise Guide. I'll share a couple of real-world applications of SAS, and we'll close with a quick summary and a Q&A. All right, so in terms of who we are, so Southern California Edison is a Edison International company, so that's our mother company. It is one of the nation's largest utilities, and it is owned by our investors. So what that means is that the CPUC, the California Public Utility Commission, regulates Edison along with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Our main headquarters is in Rosemead, California. And in terms of our service territory, we cover about 50,000 square miles of service area across Central California, Coastal, and Southern California. This does consist of 184 cities, 15 counties, 13 Native American tribes, and also we service 15 million residents through 5.2 million customer accounts. And part of the fun stuff in terms of the operations and revenue, Edison has about 125,000 circuit miles of distribution and bulk transmission lines, which includes 1.4 million power poles. And one of the things that I'll stress is that our profits are not tied to the amount of electricity that we deliver. So what this means is that Edison does not make money off of the electricity that is being used by our customers. We make money off of our assets. So the CPUC allows SE the opportunity to earn a fixed rate profit on our capital investments, and these can be, all of the infrastructure that we see in our day-to-day communities, like our poles, our power lines, all the wires, the transformers, the substations, the power plants, and different assets. But what does this actually mean? So if we're making money off of our assets and not necessarily our customers, we need to make sure that everything related to our assets is documented correctly. So it's really all about the data. So how we earn money goes back to the information that is in our main ERP system. So if, let's say, a crew is out performing a job, maybe they're replacing a pole, down the street, they can go out, replace the pole, complete the work. But if it's not documented in the system of record, that work that the crew did does not exist, and we're not going to make money off of it. We won't get paid. So we need to make sure that everything that is being done in the field is represented in the system of record, because one, we need to report on it. In case we get audited, we have that information available, and that's the way we make money as well. So we need the data to exist, and we need the data to be reliable, because the reports and tools that we develop using SAS will not be valuable if we do not have good data. Okay, so in terms of the data itself, so we use SAS Enterprise Guide to help us gather and build the data sets and outputs that we want to see. So what is SAS? So I pasted just a screenshot of what the actual software looks like, but I would say just at a high level, it's a pretty user-friendly system that allows us to analyze our data sets. So it has a pretty user-friendly interface. It simplifies complex tasks by offering wizards, guided workflows, and visual tools. So that's one of my favorite things about SAS Enterprise Guide. It is very like just visual. You can see from the different sources that you are starting with. If you are building any queries, you'll see how all of the data is connecting with each other. You'll see the final output, and it just all kind of connects in a process flow. I think I do have a screenshot of it in one of my later slides. So it's really user friendly, and I have two of my colleagues here from Edison too, which are also SAS users, and yeah, I think from when they started too, they have also seen that it is pretty user friendly. It also delivers high-performance computing for analyzing large data sets. So with some of the data that I work with, sometimes there's like maybe 6 million rows, or I think maybe the largest table that I saw was 16 million. I didn't touch that one, but it exists in our database. But in terms of the querying for data sets or with large data sets like that, the performance is pretty fast through SAS Enterprise Guide. Another cool thing about it is that it allows users to programmatically subset data to reduce results to manageable sizes and to identify the required data that they're looking for. And you can also distribute your results by publishing through multiple channels, including SAS Via, SAS BI, Microsoft products, Adobe Acrobat, SQL Server, and a lot more, or many other products. You can also even build like integrations through Python. I know I've seen integrations with SharePoint, so there's various different products or methods for you to share and display your data. Okay, so I'll connect some of these challenges back to the data, but first let me go over some of the challenges that we see at Edison. So data quality. Data quality is big. If we don't have good data, then you know, we won't be developing good data outputs. So I often hear garbage in, garbage out. So we need good data to be able to develop good quality reports. And one of the things that we struggle with is the data quality. So we know that technology has been advancing, and you know, everything that we've been learning about here at SAS Innovate, it's all about the different technologies. And I know, I think with Kim's presentation, someone asked like, oh, last year it was this year it's, or last year it was something else, this year it's this, and what is it going to be next year? It's evolving all the time. So you know, at Edison, we have our systems of record. So our main ERP system, so our main system of record where that, you know, has all of our work orders. And as technology has been advancing, sometimes we will have other systems that will connect to the main ERP system. But as we are either replacing one of the subsystems or like maybe getting a new one, we lack bidirectional integration. So some systems talk to each other, not all of them talk back to the main ERP system. Like it's just, or maybe one field exists in one system, but it doesn't exist in the other. So we can't just go in and tap on like the main ERP system. We have to tap into each individual system of record because each one of those will have critical pieces of data that we need to gather. And they're all managed differently. Like in one system, the data type will be in text, and then in another system, it's going to be a numerical format. So those are some of the things that we have to take into account when we're analyzing our data sets. Another thing that we have to look at, or that we struggle with, is accountability and utilization. So we need to ensure that our users input good data into our systems of record and incentivize efficient tool utilization. I was sharing earlier with some of the people at my table that that you know, we can develop these cool metrics and dashboards, but if people are not buying into them, if we're telling them, hey, there's a cool dashboard that, you know, can help you track and manage their work, they can come back and say, I've been tracking my work on a spreadsheet. I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. You know, who are you to tell me what to do? And we can't really do anything about that. Like we have to, you know, figure out ways to, you know, combat that change management, you know, I guess roadblock that we experience there. And one of the main things that we have found so far that has been useful is securing leadership and, securing buy-in from our leadership to help enforce the accountability. But also, you know, training and partnerships. So we often, because of attrition, you know, we see people either leaving the company or maybe they're moving roles, and then new people will come in. And let's say we spent so much time sharing about like maybe this cool output that we have, like, hey, we have this dashboard that's going to tell you all the work that your crews need to go out and do in the field. And you know, that person's like, okay, great, I love this. And then maybe that person gets promoted and now someone new comes in. There was no knowledge transfer that was done, and the new person knows nothing about it. And then as we're doing you know, field engagement, when we're out there in each of those individual districts, and you know, we start talking to people and getting to know the people, and then we start learning that that new person, you know, yeah, that new person is you know, managing and tracking their work in a certain way, but then we start learning that they're going into the system of record manually, copying and pasting data manually, saving it into an Excel spreadsheet manually, saving it into their desktop, sending it to somebody else via email. And we're like, whoa. And they're like, yeah, I do this. It takes me about an hour and a half each day, maybe 2 hours. And it works out. And we're like, no, like this data set already exists. You just have to go into this dashboard that we have for you, or this tool that we have for you. And then they start learning about it and they're like, oh, this is actually really cool. But again, there is also that piece of the change management that we struggle with where, you know, they're like, no, well, I'm already doing it this way. I'm already familiar with it. It's the first thing I do when I log in the morning. It takes me about an hour and a half. I'll continue doing it. With my team, we try to focus a lot on field engagement, where we'll send people from our team to go out to our different region offices or district offices to sit down and actually, you know, have one-on-one conversations with the people out there in those districts, so that you know, we can share more about all, you know, the efficient work practices that can help them in their office. Okay, so I know I've said a lot, but how SCE is utilizing SAS today is by creating consolidated data marts. So I talked about the different systems of record and how we have critical data points that exist in the various different systems. So now all of those systems are getting fed to the SAS server. And then now once we're utilizing that SAS server, once we're connected to it, we can build our own scripts to pull the data. So the scripts can be like the actual query to say, okay, I want to pull information from the system where we have the digital work order package, or maybe the scheduled dispatch system that has, you know, the crew information. So within that SAS server, we are building our scripts, and you can see that the final output will later lead over to a data mart and a consolidated report. So to do that, first we start by gathering our data, and then we transform our data, integrate our data, and then create our final data mart or output. So here I have a quick sample, a couple sample data sets showing our scheduled dispatch system of record, our planning and pricing system, and then the ERP system. So in the first table, I have information on the work order packages, and keep in mind this is all sample data. I have information on our work orders, the crew name, and when the crew was out in the field, so their start and finish date. In the planning and pricing tool, I have my product key, which the product key is the same thing as the work order number, but it does not have the letters TD. So, you know, out here it is in string, out here it is in numerical. And for my planning and pricing tool, I would pull my planner name, my project manager, and then in my ERP system, I also have my work order numbers, and from there I'll grab our structure information, the circuit name, and maybe some location information. So if I wanted to create one data mart off of these separate tables, First I would, so now we started with gathering the data. Now we get to transform the data. So we're actually building in our code. And, earlier I shared that SAS Enterprise Guide is very user-friendly. So you can either hard code your program or you can use our query builder. The query builder on the right-hand side, it's literally just a drag and drop. Select all your fields that you want to pull into your data set, and you can create a couple calculated columns. You can, and in the calculated columns, you do have to do like some low code because now you're creating like your own functions. Or you can just do on the left-hand side and just type in your code. And here in this data transformation, you can see that I'm just using a couple functions like the date part. So rows 6 and 7, I have my date part functions where on my start and finish dates, if you recall from the main data set, the start and finish dates had date and time. But maybe I don't really care that the crew went out there at 7 a.m. Maybe I just want to know that they were out there, I don't know, on May 5th. So now I'm just extracting just the date portion and I'm dropping time. And I'm renaming one field on row 10, project manager, to rename it project _ manager. So just the minor tweaks. After I have transformed my data, well, in that same code, I'm also integrating my data set. So remember, we said it's 3 separate tables. So lines 16 through 20 would be my joins, what we call the joins. So if you think of maybe Excel, and I don't know if you're familiar with maybe the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP functions in Excel, these joins would be doing the same thing. We have to say, okay, I have my 3 tables, but what do they have in common? How can I join those 3 data sets together? So the variable in common would be the work order number. And remember, in one table it was in string, or in 2 tables it was in string, and then in another one it was in numerical format. So you do have to take into account. So row 18 is saying, okay, to join my my work order number from table 1 to my work order number from table 2, I have to add the letters TD on table 2. And then also in terms of the data integration, so if we look at the process flow itself, you can see that you have your 3 data sets. They're all merging into one query to create a final table, and then your final output exported into Excel. So you can see a visual flow within SAS Enterprise Guide of how your data sets are merging together. And then we would get our final data mart after you run your code. So now we have our work order number, your operation number, your start and finish date, your crew name, planner, and a couple other fields. So all from 3 tables now just merged together. Okay, so now to go over some of the cool stuff are the real world applications. So one of the tools that my team maintains is the DWMT, which is the Distribution Work Management tool. And it is queried through SAS Enterprise Guide, but it is displayed in a SAS via dashboard for visualizations purposes. And this DWMT provides the users with the what, where, who, and when for all active distribution work orders. So it helps our project management teams and our operations team to help them better track and manage their work, to help them determine what work to do at the right time. So remember, Edison is getting paid by our assets, through our assets. So we need to know what work we need to do now rather than later, because there's other things that we need to take into account, like our commitment dates. So if we are not meeting our compliance dates, then we're also getting fined for every day that we're overdue. So let's say we need to replace a pole by February 5th. And if we are late on meeting that deadline, then every day that we go past due, it's in the thousands, I hear, but every day that we're past due on just one poll, it's like thousands of dollars a day per poll. So yeah, we need to identify, or there's a huge need for having data sets like this that will help us determine what work we need to do now, so that we can prioritize the work that's being done in the field. With this specific dashboard, you'll see that we have a bar chart here that would show a sample of work that that is already past due. So we can see that the need date was in a previous year, so it would be 61 work orders that would be past due in this sample data, and 1,022 work orders that are still pending, for now or a future year. So we have two tabular views. So the first table is just like a high level table that will give you one row per work order, and it's just like high level work order information. So now this becomes like a one-stop shop where instead of having the user go into 5 different systems, like one system to get the project manager or project manager and planner, another system to get the crew information, another system to get the circuit information, you can just log into the SAS via dashboard, type in your work order number, and you get all of that data displayed in your tabular view. We also have the activity and dependency view, which drills down to individual activities per work order. So, in a work order, we would have like our permitting activity, like, someone has to take care of all the permits. Someone has to take care of the design or the pre-construction activities. Maybe there's a crane that's required, or maybe a helicopter that's required. Or maybe even traffic control. So we literally, we're talking about, fixing poles in people's neighborhoods. So if we have our crews and our trucks there in the neighborhood, we also need to have traffic control. So all of those pre-construction activities would also be listed here on the activities and dependency view. And this would be a screenshot of that, of all of the dependencies. So in this activity view, we would see, okay, which activities are completed, which ones are still pending, which ones are currently in progress, and so basically, what's the status of all that work? So a dashboard like this would give us an idea of, what is the status of a work order, whose hands is it on, like is the crew still working on it, or did the crew complete the work, but maybe maybe FAO, the Field Accounting Organization, hasn't completed their closeout. So it helps people track and manage the work order in terms of the project lifecycle. But again, it wouldn't have been possible without the use of SAS via. Another cool application is the scope mapping tool. So this one, it actually uses the same data set as the DWMT, the previous one that we saw in a tabular view, but now all of our data set is displayed in a geospatial view. So every dot here represents a structure, a different structure. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool view because now we can see, and I know it's pretty zoomed out. The next screenshot that I'll show you is more of a zoomed in view, but these are, every dot would represent a different structure. And when you click on each dot, it would give you the different work order information. So you'll get, the same info, the work order number, the project manager, planner. It'll even give you like the coordinates. So based on the location information, we pull the coordinates, and you can click on those coordinates and it'll open up the Google Map view. So now if we have someone in the district, someone, within the operations team that wants to go out and, or before sending somebody out, like, hey, go to this address, see what it's looking like. You click on the coordinates, go to the Google Map view, and now you can get like a visual idea of, okay, before the crew goes out there, maybe we need a vegetation crew that has to go out and cut this tree down because it's in the way of the pole that needs to get remediated. So it's a pretty cool feature, and I would say without the data set, we can't get to anything, anything like this. Here with this SMT, so it's not just for someone to go out and into the street view and see what it's looking like. It can also help with just like even just business practices, like maybe helping identify potential bundling opportunities. So maybe instead of having, maybe every pole that needs to get remediated, maybe each of those will require an outage. So maybe instead of having 2 separate outages, maybe we can get those 2 poles that are relatively close to each other, get them replaced at the same time, and now we'll have 1 outage instead of 2 outages. So here with this map view, we can like visually see like, okay, we have these poles that are relatively together or relatively close to the same neighborhoods. Let's try to have, a couple crews out there, get those done, and, try to limit the amount of outages that we have for our customers. And I'll just close out with a quick summary. So overall, SAS Enterprise Guide facilitates the hunting and gathering of information for efficient work practices. And like I said, it's all about the data. So we need good data, so good data input for good quality outputs. Thank you. Any questions?
On that last, the GIS report that you were showing,
Yep.
have you guys thought about prioritizing by CI or CMI or something so that you can, coordinate your maintenance based on that?
What is the CI?
Well, the customer interruptions or customer minutes of interruptions.
Yeah, so we do have, and that's a separate system. So
Okay.
I didn't even add that one to the diagram system. So we have our, we do track the customer minutes of interruption, and that is in a separate system of record. It is not integrated to this geospatial view, but that would be a pretty good idea, actually. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I really enjoyed your presentation, Diana.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I work with SAS now, and I have for many years, but I used to work with ArcGIS, so I was really interested. I'm curious to know, how do you incorporate a SAS data set into the ArcGIS format? Is there a particular translation you use?
This ArcGIS platform actually connects to SQL Server, so directly from SAS Enterprise Guide. So we built our query through SAS, and we export it to SQL Server, and then from SQL Server, it feeds over to this ArcGIS platform. I don't think there was a direct connection from SAS to the ArcGIS, so we're going from SAS to SQL Server, then ArcGIS. But the queries themselves are getting built through SAS. Yeah.
Hi, great presentation.
Thank you.
I was really interested, and I love this visual here. I was really interested in how you got the customers on board to, kind of go along this data journey with you. Was it kind of planting seeds along the way?
Yes.
Showing some examples and so forth? So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so we actually don't engage with our customers ourselves, but I would say in this scenario, our customers would be our stakeholders, the people that we are developing these dashboards for. So, we can create all of these tools and dashboards, but I'm not going to use them. Like, I'm not out there managing the crews. We're doing this for our stakeholders, for our project management organizations, for the people out there in the districts actually working on the operations themselves. So like we saw on the challenges, that is one of the things that we've struggled with, that, the utilization, like we can create all of these cool dashboards and, this SMT, but if people are not buying into them, then they're just going to go back to their old ways. Their old ways being like a spreadsheet that is getting updated in somebody's desktop. So we really have to, so to combat that, we have been trying to do more field engagement. We're trying to get more people from our team to go out in the field and sit with the people on the operations side to say, hey, look, all right, let's see, what work do you have going on today? And okay, you're going to be working on this work order. Let's type it in. Let's see what it looks like in the DWMT, in the tabular view. So you search it up. You're actually sitting there side by side with the people in the districts. And then, okay, this is what it looks like in the dashboard. Okay, now let's open up SMT. Let's search up the work order. And okay, now I see it here. It's this dot right here. And okay, let's look at the next structure right next door to it. So we really have been trying to push more for field engagement, because that is what has proven to be successful for us. Yeah, and it has been difficult because our team is located in one office, but since our service territory does span the 50,000 square miles, we have crews working everywhere. So to get a small team out to every single district has been a challenge, but we're trying. Yep, I saw another question.
Did y'all try to put that map? Have you and your team tried to include that map in the dashboard itself?
So you
Um,
have your tabular and your map all in one spot?
I don't think so, but I think, or if anything, we might have a hyperlink to it. So because they are two separate platforms, I don't think we're able to like build the map. Or actually, I'll actually leave that or send it over to Adrian and Meredith. I know, so they actually build dashboards. I think I have seen maps in some of your guys's dashboards, but I don't know, like I don't know how they would connect.
Yeah, I think the maps that we generally build are very similar to your SAS via maps, where it's based on lats and longs. But in terms of like the Google Map images, I think those are tools that we can embed within the dashboard where it would be just like a simple click. That's some of the functionalities where
Yeah.
we've been able to do.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why we also do it here through ArcGIS is because we can also build layers over it, which I'm not sure if SAS would allow for the different layers. So part of the layers would be, and I think I have a screenshot of them on this side. They're a little bit blurred out, but like maybe the one that's clicked on, I think, what does it say? Conception bucket investment. So I don't know, maybe some kind of investments. But maybe I think there's a layer on the red list customers. So our list of customers that need to stay on in case of an outage. Like these people are the ones that need that require a medical device to stay on. So we want to see, okay, let's turn on that layer, see where our critical customers are, and now we can see those in a map. And I'm not sure if that would be possible through SAS Via, but so that's why we display it here through ArcGIS.